I'm not sure if you noticed, but there are so many popular videos about stimulus checks. Is it a $2,000 check per month? Is that what we're getting? Is it a second stimulus check, or is it a $1,000 check? Have any of you guys gotten your $1,200 check, your $600 per week check? So there's all these YouTubers making these videos and they're getting tons of views. So I thought, hey, let's see if we can crack the algorithm a little bit and make a video about this. But this is about how to invest your check. So many people are worrying about, are they going to get a check? How much is it for? When is it going to come to into their mailbox? I want you to be thinking a little bit ahead, right? Whenever people are worrying about something, you need to be thinking one step ahead on how you're going to benefit from that change. I was reading a new book called The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday, and it's all about how Rockefeller, who became one of the richest people in the world ever, John D. Rockefeller, was able to take advantage of a crisis that was happening during his lifetime, and he went from making no money to basically controlling 90% of the whole oil industry in a matter of years. So how did he do that? Well, he stayed calm during uncertainty, and he took advantage of the changing times by looking at the facts, seeing the trends, and thinking a step ahead. So that's what we're going to do right now, is talk about how to invest your stimulus check once you get it. You probably will be getting a stimulus check. There is so much incentive for the government to try to just print money. Money printer goes burr is what half of the comments are on these videos, and you will probably be getting some money. So let's think ahead, right? Let's think about what can we do with that money. Here is today's day change in my accounts here, and I'm going to be talking about what I would do. Okay, so first I wanted to kind of clear something up. You shouldn't be thinking about buying too many stocks if you are absolutely broke right now and don't have money to feed yourself and to prepare for at least another month. Right? So I want you to first think about what do you need to kind of keep going in terms of if you are out of a job, what does it take for you to kind of have your basic necessities? What can you do? Can you eat ramen noodles and survive? Once you have that number and you can survive, the rest you should be investing, taking advantage of this crazy, crazy time. So what should you buy? That's the question. Well, let's say you have a $2,000 stimulus check. What can you do? Well, $2,000 stimulus check, you can buy, maybe 8 shares of Apple. You can buy maybe 2.5 shares of Tesla. There's things called fractional shares, which allow you to buy up to the amount that you're willing to spend, so you could have literally 2.5 shares or something like that. But I'm actually going to share how you can make one purchase of $200, let's say, for a share and actually own top companies like Microsoft and Apple and Bank of America and Johnson & Johnson and maybe Boeing and all of those companies that you're probably speculating at this point. How do you do that? Well, you do that with an ETF, okay? So I'm a big proponent of this. As you can tell, this is an ETF right here, Vanguard's VOO, which I have, it's my top holding, okay? This is how much I have of it. Now, this allows you to buy in one shot at the price of $260 today. You can own the S&P 500. That means you own every company inside the S&P 500, which are the top 500 companies in the USA, and you own them, and that's it. And if they go up, you go up. It's incredibly diverse, it's incredibly easy, and it's incredibly low cost in terms of fees. But there are also other ones, and let's kind of talk about the different ones that you can buy with your stimulus check and which one I will recommend the most. Now, the ones I'm going to be talking about first are Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF, which I have a bit of. It's VOO, which is all the large companies. Okay, it's a large blend of stocks, and it's the U.S.'s top stocks. So we're talking about Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Facebook, Berkshire Hathaway, Johnson & Johnson, Visa. So you're getting the benefit of all these different companies, all of these different diversification in the sectors, and you're buying it in one share, essentially. Okay, so in one shot, you're going to own 508 stocks. Okay, and it is because this fund owns a percentage of each stock, so it basically mirrors as if you owned all of the stocks. Now, this is VOO. There's also VTI. VTI is one of the most popular ETFs in the world. It's the total stock market ETF. It might be the biggest ETF in the world. I'm not sure. I haven't looked that up. But it owns the entire stock market, okay, in terms of the US. the total stock market ETF. It has large, mid, small cap stocks across growth stocks and value stocks. And if you check it out here, you're going to notice it has the same top 10 holdings. It's because this is market cap weighted, so it means these bigger companies are a bigger percentage of the holdings. So the top 10 largest holdings of this total stock index are the same as the S&P 500's biggest stocks, right? Makes sense. However, you'll notice that there's a lot more stocks, okay? Instead of owning 500 so stocks, you're owning 3,535 stocks. The fund's total net assets is $700 billion in this fund. Now, this has amazing diversification as well. Has even better diversification, right? But I don't think that it's less risky, even though it has more diversification. I'm going to talk about that in a second here. The next one that you might want to look at is Vanguard's Russell 2000 ETF, VTWO. Now, this is tracking the same thing in terms of tracking a huge market. However, it is tracking mostly small U.S. companies, small companies. So it's a small blend. It's more aggressive in terms of its class because it has smaller companies which have proven over time to have bigger returns. However, they have bigger risks. All right. Recently, the bigger companies have done better. I'm talking about the last decade. But over time, it's been shown that smaller cap companies have done better. So these are the top 10 largest holdings, Teladoc and all these other companies that you've probably never heard of. But they are still big companies, but they're much smaller than S&P 500 companies, right? And the total net assets is at $1.7 billion, so much smaller there. Right now we're looking at VOO, and you can kind of see what has happened. We're pretty much half recovered right here for VOO from the top. Now let's add some of the other companies in here, or the other funds rather. So let's add VTI, the total stock market index, and see how that has done. Now you can see here VTI is the red one. It is a little bit lower, not by much, but it's a little bit lower. And that makes sense because this is actually including some companies that are smaller companies, right? Because it's not just the S&P 500. And as I mentioned, smaller companies actually are more volatile, right? Because they have a higher chance of potentially going belly up. VTWO, this is the Russell 2000 index. This is all of the small companies, or it's only small companies. And look at that. See how much lower that is. So we are not close to halfway recovered. Maybe we are 1/3, 1/4 recovered compared to VTI and VOO. So what is a better choice for you? So this VTWO, the smaller companies that make up this fund, are more volatile, and they have a higher rate of return, but they have a higher risk to them. At this time, there are going to be companies that don't make it. So I don't want you looking at a price and being like, look, wow, it's down 22%. So if I buy and it recovers, I'm going to pretty much be at up 25, 28%, something like that. You can look at my past video that talks about that and how that works. That if it's down negative 22%, to get back to the top, you're actually going to be up more than 22%. So some companies are not going to make it. That's the truth. So when we're looking at this Vanguard's Russell 2000 ETF, it does have better performance than if you own the entire market. It is more aggressive. A lot of you guys are young, you're like me, and so you're like, more risk, more reward, let's do it. But here's the thing, there's going to be companies that go belly up, that don't make it out of here, right? So they are going to go bankrupt and their value is going to disappear completely. So I right now am not buying into the Russell 2000 ETF. I'm not confident in it yet. I think there's not a lot of economic data yet on just how bad things will be, so I don't think it's priced into the market yet. So I am kind of staying away from this at the moment. It's a little too risky for me at the moment. If you are if you're not risk averse and you're willing to go for it, this is going to make you potentially more, but it definitely has higher risk. And at the moment, I am not doing this. So let's just exit out of that. Next is VTI. This is the total stock market index. And you might be thinking, this has the best diversification, right? Because it's large, mid, and small cap equities. But here's the thing. These small companies, a lot of them are not going to make it, right? And when I think of risk, I'm not just thinking of diversification. I'm thinking of what companies have the most cash. And small and mid-sized companies do not have the most cash. But often maybe they don't have that much debt, right? Large companies have huge debt, right? We talk about airlines, okay? Notorious for having huge debt and operating barely really slim margins, right? And having a lot of credit. So here's the difference though. I think the bigger companies, this S&P 500, even though there's less companies in here, even though there's not small and mid, I think it is a safer bet in terms of growth over time because the big companies are going to get bailed out. That's my perspective on it. So the big companies that are going to potentially really struggle, let's talk about like Boeing, for example, is an absolute huge one. Here's the thing. Boeing has a huge weight on America's GDP growth. Okay, so that means America as a whole is actually gets affected by how well Boeing does. One company, which is absolutely crazy. What percentage does Boeing make of the gross domestic product of America? About 1%, according to this article. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like that is probably realistic. Boeing's 737 MAX will have a negative impact on the U.S. because they stopped the 737 MAX plane, and the decline can produce a 0.4% decline in GDP growth, which is huge. We're talking about GDP, the gross domestic product of all of America. We're talking about McDonald's sales and GM cars and absolutely every single product. Boeing has a huge effect on it. So Boeing probably get bailed out if they need to, right? And so what that means for these S&P 500 companies is that they are probably going to be okay. They're probably going to be bailed out. If any of these have issues, they're probably going to be bailed out. You can see during the recession, right? What companies got bailed out? The huge banks, right? Inside the S&P 500, where smaller banks often fail. So what I would do, okay, with your stimulus check, is I would say, hey, you can check out VOO. I'm not a stock advisor. I can't even recommend anything, but this is what I would do, right? And so in one shot, for $260 per share, you are buying all of these companies, okay? You're buying all the companies. You're not guessing which company will do better because the truth is that you have no idea which company is going to do better, and no one, not even all the fancy schmancy YouTubers like me on YouTube, know what's going to really go up and go down and what's a good price, right? If you told me Tesla was going to be at $725 3 months ago, I'd be like, wow, that would be great, but I don't think so, right? So it's very hard to tell what a price should be. No one can do it effectively over time. So the best is to own the actual market, and that is what I do with VOO, owning the majority of the market. Up $3,000 today from just that VOO. Okay, so I recommend this is what you should do with your stimulus check. First, make sure that you can survive. Make sure that you can maybe downsize to be able to have a little bit more cash. Hopefully you can try to hold on to the cash that you can, and you can invest. All right, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please leave a comment and like this video. That would help me out a lot. I want to keep doing these, but I need your motivation and to tell me that you're enjoying this and you're getting value from it, because I just want to help in the end. And thanks so much for watching. I'm giving away $100 next week for my 100th subscribers. So please like this video, please subscribe, and it'll qualify you for a $100 giveaway that we'll do next week. See you later.